Hey everybody, this is Muffin with the Daily Biker Podcast. Just here to let y'all know the opinions and ideas expressed in this show are those of the hosts and their guests, not to be confused with their partners and sponsors. Now, let's get it on.
Hey guys, this is Sean from the Bikes and Beards YouTube channel, and you guys are listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You're gonna love it.
So much better.
Yeah, I can't think of what his name was.
I don't
But he's
know.
pretty knowledgeable on bikes.
Oh, this is what you need right here, though.
I like that.
That's old school right there.
Did you see the guy walk by earlier with the prosthetics, two prosthetics?
No, but I know a guy with two prosthetics. It
Yeah.
might be him.
Yeah, he just walked from the Harley trailer over there and was looking at bikes, and then he walked that way.
I didn't notice him.
That's pretty awesome.
Might be the guy now. But anyways. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Biker Podcast.
I love the intro. I love it. It makes my day.
My name is Marcus, and I am your clueless leader. If you hear a lot of commotion in the background, it's because I am, once again, out of town, away from the dealership. For those of you listening, it seems like it's been 3 weeks in a row. It almost has been 3 weeks in a row. I only got 10 days back from vacation, and I had to come out of town again. Actually, so I was out of town for the bagger racing in Atlanta. And then came back, and then I went out of town for vacation, and then I came back, and then I went out of town for this. But I have a first-time guest and a fairly recent listener, I guess.
Yeah. March
2
Moto
months?
Madness.
Right about 2 months, we'll call it. I've got Tim Fowler with me. Say hello to everybody, Tim.
Hello, listeners.
So, are you going to make Madison listen to this episode?
Yes, I am. Yes, we are. So we need to talk about some dirt, some good things. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
So, so like you said, we're going to talk about dirt. But before we get into dirt, I must ask a little bit your riding history. Road?
I grew up riding the coal mines of Ohio, West Virginia, and Maryland. So this is where I grew up. I was on dirt the very first, before I even had a pedal bike, bicycle.
Yeah.
I had a dirt bike, and then...
So you've only been dirt?
I've been dirt probably till I was 16 to get my motorcycle license.
Okay.
And then that was an FJR, was my first kind of road bike that I actually bought new.
What year was this?
93, 92, somewhere in there.
I'm trying to picture the gen, and I know the bike now.
Yeah. We always had beater bikes that we were riding on road, different types of stuff before that. But an actual true road bike that I bought was the FJR. And then from there it was the Fat Boy, and then it was a Road King, and there was a Street Glide, and there was a Deuce in there somewhere. Then
got that best bike Harley ever made there, the Deuce.
The Deuce. And then from there, we got into the dirt. I got tired of Madison riding on the back of my bike. And I've been trying to get her out there for years. And
So were you on the Street Glide when you first met Madison?
I was.
Okay.
And not fair to her, it had like a Jim's 120 and it was built. So for somebody who's never ridden before, it was a little bit on the scary side. And I don't ride the Sanets, so I ride it to ride it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, why would you just poke?
Right.
I mean, speed limits are suggestions.
Right. And at one point I had a Pro Charger on that we blew the motor up a few different times.
Yeah.
But no, and then she had interest in the dirt, so we decided to chase that. So.
And you went from the Street Glide to the Pan America.
Yep, I did. I take it back. There was a GS 1200, a 2016 in there somewhere.
For a very short period of time?
Very short period of time.
So, then Pan America.
Then the Pan America.
For a year and a half?
Actually, 3 months, 4 months.
I thought it was longer than that.
No.
So we met you right after you bought your Pan America.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And then from there, went into the Ducati, the Desert X.
And you miss your Pan America.
I do.
I just want to make that very clear.
Yes,
you miss your Pan America.
I will tell you, it was one of those bikes that I'd never ridden it before, and I'd read all the hype.
Yeah.
And I went to the dealership and I saw it, and I said, I just want to take it for a ride just to see what it's about. and I bought it when I got back.
Oh yeah, well no, we were talking about this earlier. I was talking to a couple of gentlemen here about the Pan America and about selling the Pan America, and I go, we don't have to sell Pan Americas. We get someone to ride the Pan America, and we've done what we're supposed to, because that bike right there is so cool, so awesome, that it just blows away any expectations that someone has when they think, oh, I'm going to get on an ADV bike made by Harley Davidson.
Right. You know, and for me, I was bored with the BMW 1200 because to me, it just didn't have enough power for the road. It was plenty for the dirt and the trail riding and so forth and fire trails, but when you get onto the road, it didn't excite me. When you get on a Pan American and you start twisting the throttle on it, it starts giving back. I mean, it's impressive.
So you had your Pan. I'm going to say this nicely. You had some issues, became a little crybaby about it,
Yes.
bitched out, got rid of your Pan America, and bought a Ducati.
I did.
And you have watched the video about selling your soul to Ducati to buy Desert X.
Yeah, from Fort 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just want to make clear that you have,
And
you do understand.
right, and if you want to put air pressure in it, you have to take it to an authorized Ducati service center.
Yes, yes, yes. As long as we do understand that. But you have since stated
Yes.
that you miss your Pan America.
Oh, 100%. The great thing about the Pan American was it was an incredible road bike. It was as good off-road as it was on-road and vice versa.
Yeah.
You could sit on that bike for 6 hours and never get tired of riding it.
Well, I have no qualms about telling people when it comes to ADVs, is there ADVs that might be better on the road? There is.
Right.
Is there ADVs that might be better off-road? There is. Are you going to find an ADV to do everything you want better than a Pan America? No.
No.
Even publications have stated that. There's so many magazines and YouTube channels and stuff that are like, to do it all, to rate it in the categories fairly between on-road, off-road, you know, and all the other stuff about if you have a problem or those types of things, you're not going to beat it. Because being a Harley, if you have a problem, how many dealers do you have that you can go to?
Right.
So that being said, you live in the Nashville area,
Mm-hmm.
and you chose to come to Chattanooga to White Lightning.
Correct.
Which you didn't buy your bike from White Lightning, just to clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that brought you to White Lightning when you started having issues with your Pan America?
So there's the big Pan America Facebook page.
Yep.
And when you started reading on there, White Lightning kept popping up for people to fix things. And it was interesting because
This was from people on the page, not Sean or
I didn't
anybody.
know you guys then.
Okay.
So I called
So then I guess I was the first one to met you when you came in the dealership then.
T. T was.
Okay. And then I just saw you wandering around the dealership, and I
Right.
come up and talked to you.
And you're like, hey, who's this guy that looks lost wandering around?
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, I called T and I called her on the phone. I said, hey, T, I said, this is the bike I got. I said, I'm having some issues with it. I said, one of two things are going to happen. Either it's going to disappear or I need to get it fixed. And she starts laughing. She says, well, let's not get drastic. Why don't you bring it to us? I said, well, I'm 2 hours away in Nashville. She's like, just bring it to us. And right from the time I walked into the dealership, you know, and you start looking around and there's how many Pan Americans sitting in the service area, you're like, okay, these guys actually work on these bikes. They know these bikes. And from there, you know, our relationships just grew with you and Sean and T. And, you know, and the other thing that really impressed me is when we did the dealership rides, I have Sean out there. I've got the service manager out there riding. You know, they're not talking the talk, they're actually walking the line too.
Yeah.
And to me, that was impressive.
Yeah. You know, I on that, you know, the last dealership ride we had that you went on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was this the overnight Suches?
Right. So we had a big party at the shop that day.
Right.
And the next weekend, we had another dealer ride that was road based. I mean, we have dealer rides going all the time. Whether you want to do on road or off road, we cover our bases. And I have so many people that come to us that love that. They're like, the dealers, you know, they want to get you at the dealership and do these things and get you in there and spend money and whatever. But, you know, we don't drive you to that. We don't drive you in and go, hey, go to Motor Close. Now, there's times where you come in and I'm like, hey, there's something you need to check out in Motor Close.
Right, because you can walk in flip-flops and you're like, hey, you need a pair of boots.
Yeah. So, but it's one of those things. I think that speaks volume that you see all these people going, hey, this is the dealership you need to check out. Talk to them. It's become apparent enough with the motor company in itself. So.
Right. And the other thing is, and this is something that like I said, I've had the Harleys, and I know the dealerships from Florida to here to the West Coast. But one thing about it is, okay, now I bought the bike. What do I do with it?
Yeah.
Especially the ADV world. You guys have answered that question by hosting these dealer rides. Okay, you've bought the bike. So now come join the community and let's ride.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed how friendly the people are.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not met one person that's not friendly or said, hey, I need your number. Let's go ride. Let's get together.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things too. You hear horror stories from dealerships all the time.
Sure.
Dealerships pissing people off, and
I got a few of those.
Well, and when you came in our dealership and I met you that day, yeah, T was handling you, but you were in a little bit of an aggravated mood because,
right.
Yeah, you were willing to drive the 2 hours to come see us, to let us take a chance to fix your motorcycle and stuff for you. But you just had to drive 2 hours to go to a dealership.
Right.
When
I've got 3 within an hour of me.
Right. But, so like I said, when I first met you, you seemed a little aggravated when I walked up and started talking to you that very first time. But what was that experience like? Not that initial touch, because your initial touch was that phone call with Teresa. That second hand, you got there, you dropped your bike off at the dealership. What was your experience like after you walked away from service and you started walking around the rest of the dealership?
Well, it's interesting because right when I got there and, we kind of checked the bike in, went through the paperwork scenario of it, T walked me back through the service department.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, we got this bike that so-and-so is working on. Here's the mechanic that's going to be working on your bike.
Yeah.
To me, that went a long way.
Yeah.
I've never had a Harley dealership do that before. And then when I'm driving home, back to Nashville, I'm like, all right, I feel pretty confident right now. These guys actually turn a wrench and they know what they're doing. Sean obviously rides and so forth. Where the other dealerships in my area that I went to, you didn't see them in there. And when I taken it there for service, they kind of pushed me off. They didn't want to work on my bike was the impression that I got.
Well, I think when I walked up to you, I think you were looking at one of the flyers that we had.
Probably. I think it was the Dirt Ways.
So, and that's kind of how that conversation started, because I asked if you had any questions and all that other stuff. Then, of course, you asked a million questions that I couldn't answer. But immediately, I TO'd you to Sean.
Yeah.
He's general manager of a dealership, but it wasn't a closed-door situation. It was like,
Nope.
Hey, Sean, I want you to meet somebody real quick. This is Tim. He's got a Pan America. He come down here from Nashville. Yada, yada, yada. And next thing you know, you were in his office for 30 minutes. I mean, hell, I had to go in and go, all right, Tim, let's let Sean get back to work.
He's got to go to work. And it's interesting because, on the Facebook pages, you saw Sean's name pop up in a lot of different areas and rides and sponsored rides and so forth, but I had no idea who he was. And then when I met him that day in the office, it was like, okay, he's a real guy. He really rides. He just isn't somebody out there who's doing promotional stuff. He actually rides the bike.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, that was impressive.
And, he might want to glamorize his motorcycle, make it pretty. That's his own personal styling. Yes. Not a whole lot of people know what the Farkle Squad means, though. We had that conversation on the way up here. I was explaining in the truck on the way up here what it means to Farkle. That's more of a BMW thing, though, I think.
Yeah.
But, back to riding. Since you've been in the ADV world, you've kind of been all over the eastern part of the country with the ADV stuff. What is it about ADV compared to the road?
For me, people aren't trying to run me over. That's the biggest thing. We get blind corners on a fire road you got to watch out for, but it's not the person texting or being on the phone that isn't paying attention at 65 miles an hour trying to run me over. And Madison, she's ER trauma nurse, so she saw the worst of the worst that comes through the door.
Yeah.
So for her, being in the dirt is a safer environment. So that's pretty much what drug us into the dirt world.
I put big air quotes on safer environment.
Well, right, within reason.
Make sure you carry a trauma kit with you. Make sure you have bear mace with you.
Right, bear mace, tourniquets, things like that.
Yeah.
But the community's just different. I enjoy the community. I really do. Look at this event here. You look around, you've got a mixture of a lot of different communities here.
There people that have not been here, and they ask me, they're like, oh, so what should I see? What should I expect to see? And people are asking about the community, what kind of bikes? And I go, everything. I mean, you got guys. I mean, there's a row of regular, baggers with their bars and stuff over there. You go down here to V-Twin Visionary, and you got Dynas all fixed up and everything. But then you got the choppers that are running around, and you got all these people running around on mini bikes, and then of course there's dirt bikes and ADVs and everything else.
Well, I think you mentioned in your last podcast about the ride down to Road Atlanta, how many ADV bikes were on that ride.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you, And for me, a lot of times I got tired of riding on the road. So when I got to get in the dirt a little bit, it was like, all right, back to old school.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously we've established you enjoy riding in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
What type of dirt? Because there's some people, obviously somebody that's listening to this that might come from a strong dirt bike background that's used to a lot of single track or something like that. You're not talking about that.
No, we're talking about, I guess the way to word it is roads that are gravel that a licensed vehicle can be on, right? So that's your fire roads, your unimproved roads, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little longer in the tooth, so I think about if I want to break a leg. That's going to impact my financial position if I break a leg and have to be laid up for 6 weeks or longer.
You sit on an earth mover. I don't want to hear
Yeah, I know, but still.
Do you have to use your feet on an earth mover?
Yeah, sometimes, Bobcats or the dozers or things like that.
Oh, you got
or
the pedals too.
Yeah, we got pedals we got to move, but, I'm not, when I was younger, you never thought about those things. But the older I get, you're like, I probably shouldn't try that or do that. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anytime I don't have on shoes since Sunday, I get freaked out walking around.
Have you told the listeners what you've done recently?
No, because it just happened Sunday. I haven't recorded it. So, I broke my pinky toe 3 days before we come to this event. I can ride my bike just fine, but doing anything, so like on the ADV wise,
We got to pull up.
it's on my right foot.
Oh, okay.
But that pressure of pushing down compared to stepping on a pedal, like on a cruiser, the pressure of pushing down on an ADV is a lot different. So I'm not on crutches or anything like that. I'm just running around hobbling.
I didn't even know you broke it till you said you broke it. So you're doing pretty good.
Everybody else has been like, why are you limping?
I don't pay any attention. Obviously.
I've met your wife, so obviously.
Obviously. Yeah, obviously.
So, and, speaking of Madison, in March, I think it was 6 months was March that she'd been riding. And it literally went to, here's an ADV bike, let's go get dirty.
Yeah, so it was interesting because I had taken her into the dealership there in Nashville, and I was looking, that was the one when I bought the Pan American, and I said, hey, here's some other bikes. Meanwhile, I didn't buy it from the Harley dealership. I bought the bike secondhand.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't you sit on that bike over there? And that was a Ducati Scrambler, and then they had like the GS and so forth. I said, why don't you sit on this bike and that bike? And she fought me. She wasn't having it.
She didn't want to sit on the bikes?
No, she was not having it. And then a few days later, she says, she goes, why don't we go back to the dealership? So she goes back to the dealership, and she sits on the GS 750. And that was the bike she had settled on. So she buys the bike. We spend 4 or 5 weeks riding around. And I started looking on the internet trying to find a trainer for her. I wanted a female trainer because let's be honest, her husband should not teach her how to ride a bike if you want to keep your marriage.
I'm not teaching my wife how to ride a bike, so I do understand that.
So I ran into Cassie Mayer on YouTube, and I started researching a little bit, and she's got full gear female.
Yeah.
And so I messaged Cassie out of the blue and said, hey, I got this kind of Beyond rider, blah, blah, blah. I want to send her to you for a week, and I don't know if you do that type of thing. She texts me back. So within 3 or 4 weeks, she's on a plane out to New Mexico, Albuquerque, and she spends a week out there with Cassie training in the desert on Cassie's GSA 1250 instead of the 750.
Okay.
Madison came back a different rider.
Yeah.
Completely different rider. And Cassie kind of kept me updated on what she was doing and so forth. and how well she was doing. She's like, her years of riding horses really transferred over to riding on the bike.
Yeah.
And that is what kind of set it in stone. And now she sits at home searching for rides and where our next place is and what we're doing. And
I think earlier she thought I was messing with her. I mean, y'all legitimately need to start a YouTube channel.
we have talked about, we kind of joke it's MT Adventures.
Yeah.
And we kind of joke about that, but we've considered it.
Well, let's look at the basics here. She's a fairly new rider, riding ADV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's easy on the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a bad looking guy for being old as shit.
Right.
You're talking about living full time in a toy hauler.
Right. Which she does now.
Right. Are you seeing where I'm?
Yeah.
You have all these little bases already that if you can figure out exactly how to approach doing the YouTube channel, you already have all the other bases that fill in the background of, yeah, that would be something I would want to see.
And, and what I find interesting is, and Madison's really easy to talk to. She'll see somebody or somebody will come up to her and start kind of picking questions, right? The newbie questions. I'm super interested.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of scared to ask these questions.
Well, I think it would be a good spot for her too, because even though it being both of y'all, getting more girls into the sport.
Exactly.
Just riding, period.
Right.
But then there's a lot of girls that ride that go, oh, I couldn't do the ADV.
Right.
Well, most certainly you can. T's riding a smaller bike, but Madison talked T into getting on her BMW.
Yeah.
And you saw that grin that T had after sitting there riding a bike that she never thought she'd be able to ride.
And it was muddy, it was slick, it was wet. And Madison just kind of went up to T and said, hey, the time is now. Get on the bike and go ride it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it went. She didn't have a choice. It was like, get on the bike and go ride.
I'll say this, and maybe I should explain this to Madison a little bit. The podcast, okay? This whole thing started when I first started doing this. I was actually riding motorcycles and writing 3 to 4 paragraph blogs on my Instagram. Okay. I did that for 3-4 months. People seemed to enjoy it. And I was like, why don't I try and do a YouTube? So I started a YouTube channel. I only loaded one video on it. But I started a YouTube channel. And I said, okay, what can I do with this? How do I go about doing YouTube? Well, me and my friend that started the channel itself, we'd
Daniel?
No. So Lewis,
okay.
If you've ever heard us refer to No Show Jones.
Yep.
So he's actually on a 3,800 mile cross country ride right now.
All right.
So there's Sean. I'll let him know. Hey, we're recording right now, so I wasn't sure if you want to. So we sat down and we kept having these conversations. How do we do this? And as we're sitting here talking about how we do this, we end up going into conversations talking about motorcycles. And we did it about 3 or 4 times, and I went, why don't we just record this?
Right.
Why don't we do a podcast and record this? And he's like, yeah, we could. So start looking into it, start getting all the details. It took about a month's time. And I don't know if you know this whole deal. At this point in time, I did not work for the dealership. I'd met Sean, though. We were friends. And I said, hey, I'm looking at doing this. Would you support us in doing this? And he's like, 100%. We laid out a couple ground rules, which I don't know if you've ever heard me say the ground rules. That is, we don't badmouth the dealership or brand.
Right.
It's fair.
Very fair.
People have their own personal opinions. I think most of the people on here understand I'm not an Indian fan. Doesn't mean I don't like Indians.
Right.
And I'm referencing the motorcycles for any new listeners here. But also I go about it in a very lighthearted manner. It's not a mean thing. A lot of Indian guys give me a hard time about Harley Davidson. I tell them it's just because they haven't rode a real motorcycle yet. There's the bicker.
That's the thing. In one of your podcasts, you had mentioned on there the camaraderie, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're not picking on each other, right, that is the camaraderie side of things.
Yeah.
You picked on me when I bought the Ducati. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
in
I'm
front
still
of
going
Pan
to
American.
until you sell it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just how this
Well, it's because
community
you had
works.
this huge bike with this really tiny rear fender.
Right. It looks like it was never finished. And I got
Correct.
zip ties. I bet you don't have zip ties in your Pan American. I paid extra for those.
They designed this motorcycle all the way to the driver's seat,
Yep.
and then they just went,
And they put zip ties
"Hey,
on.
finish it up for me." But that's what we did. We decided. We said, you know what? Hey, we already had these conversations, and that's what this started as. You know, let's just record our conversations that we already have about motorcycles. There are times where we go, okay, what are we going to talk about? We need a subject.
Sure.
But there are episodes you can hear where we sit down and we don't know what we're going to talk about. It's just off the wall.
You know, one of my favorite one is when you guys start stereotyping, you know, the bikes and the riders that go along with them.
Did you like the Ducati?
I did. You know, and the pizza and, and so forth.
Yeah. Teresa told me to shut up. I don't know if you heard that on that. She's like, you need to stop it. You need to shut up. Because my Italian accent is horrible. But I did have a listener send me a message, said when he was listening to that episode, he about peed himself.
Laughing.
When I started doing the Ducati accent.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of like Mario and Luigi. No,
we got to get that down the pipe.
But as far as the, you know, the M&T thing, you know, that's something we've seriously considered and we've talked about.
I think seriously you should do it. And I'm going to tell you this, because it's going to be one of those things where you sit here and you go, well, how do we do it? How do we approach it? How do we do it? How do we approach it? You both have cell phones. Learn to video on your cell phone.
Right.
Just start videoing. Load it up. Find, you know, and this isn't even probably the best thing to say, but go on YouTube, find a couple different vlog channels, maybe a style that you like, maybe a couple different styles that you like, and that'll kind of give you a little bit of direction of how you want to go about doing this.
An outline of.
But what I would say would be, I really like the way Thrash and Supply does their vlogs.
Okay.
But a mix of that with, there is a couple different motorcycle YouTube channels that they go to rallies and stuff. And they video at rallies and they talk to people and, you know, very brief interviews and stuff like that. And they have overviews of what's going on. But because you could have the mix of, you know, we're going out riding. Hey, Tim broke his bike. Hey, Madison broke her bike. Hey, we're doing training. Hey, we're just going out in the backyard and practicing, whatever it may be, and put that stuff together. It doesn't have to be long, man. Your videos can be 10 minutes.
And then one thing that she, is challenged with is trying to find clothing, female clothing that fits. Because like she said, I can wear the same size, 3 different manufacturers, and it all fits different.
Yeah.
You know, and having like real reviews, you know, riding in it and what she thought and how it fits and how it works. You know, she's got quite a bit of money wrapped up in gear that she doesn't use because it just doesn't work right for her style of riding.
Muffin wants to start her own clothing company designed for female riders.
Her and Madison should get together.
So
You could have the street, you could have the ADV, you could have crisscross, whatever you
well,
got.
we already have a name for it too.
What's the name?
Moto Muffin.
Nice.
Moto Muffin Clothing.
Nice.
So I told her, I was like, you want to do it? We'll start rolling like the t-shirts and swag and stuff like
How are
that.
you, sir?
We use the black barrel out there.
I don't know. You'll need to on the other side of the truck. Yeah, you'll have to ask them.
I don't know who you're looking for, but well, you guys were. I think we were all talking yesterday about the track and that was Brandon. Yeah, well, we're going to use.
They're setting up stuff for. They're gonna have like some games.
Oh,
Just take it to the
I seen some people out there flat tracking earlier.
You
Playing.
gonna get out there and flat track? You can go on in. You can walk inside. Yeah. Go for it, man. But you know, I think y'all should do it. I think
Yeah.
you'd enjoy it. I mean, because there's always content. Once you start doing it, you're gonna realize, oh, this is content.
Right.
People just want that look into what's going on. You know, there's a lot of people, and I think you mentioned it to me once before too. It's the fact that we're just with the podcast. It's not, unfortunately not. It's just so raw and authentic, and what happens is what happens.
Right. And that's one of the things that, when her and I discussed about doing it, I said, I want the end of moment mishaps, right? I want it when the bike falls and you're struggling to get it up and it's 90 degrees outside and you've dropped it 4 times in 100 feet.
Yeah.
I want those moments because that's real, not the perfect moments that you always see.
People don't want perfect moments.
No.
Perfect moments are not life.
No.
Man. It's this, there's this whole trope right now, and you hear people talk about it with country music, about how, oh yeah, this happened and life's going great. And it's like, that's not life.
That's not life.
That's not life. People want to see you in the middle of the woods with your Desert X, a broken spoke,
Yep.
and you dog cussing that thing and kicking it and breaking your pinky toe. That's
Right.
what people want to see.
And ordering a pizza. Trying to figure out how to fix it.
Whatever it is. But that's the thing. That's what people want to see.
Right.
And I think y'all should do it. I mean, you already have a great name for it.
Yeah, we're seriously considering it.
Yeah, Madison and her boy toy.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And, it's all about ratings. It's all about ratings.
Yes. So, move on to something else, and this is just kind of a self-indulgence, but this is also for my knowledge, because I like these things. The podcast.
Yes.
Tell me what it is as a listener, what you like, what you enjoy, because obviously you're a dirt guy. We only have a handful of episodes that are dirt-based episodes.
Right. So let's look at it. I met you at the dealership that day,
Yep.
right, when I came in.
Yeah.
And then I met you a few other times when we came in for some other service stuff.
Yep.
Then I met you at March Moto Madness.
Yep.
I had no idea you had a podcast.
Okay.
I did not know it existed.
Yeah.
Until you had mentioned, you're like, hey, I got a podcast. I'm like, yeah, right, okay, but he's got a podcast.
But I think it was in casual talking. Like, I don't even think
Yes.
I was directly talking to you.
We were just casually talking.
Yeah, I think someone else was there and something got said, and I said something about, I think I was saying something about how I was going to interview Zeke
Maybe that's
for the
what it
podcast.
was.
And you were like, wait, you have a podcast?
Right. And so I was like, all right. So literally that night when we got Wi-Fi back in the trailer, I downloaded it and started listening to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is content that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I'm not a sports guy. You won't find me watching football, basketball.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And if you try to
Real
talk,
sports require 2 balls.
yeah, if you try to talk sports with me, I am clueless.
Unless it's golf, then it's a real sport that requires 18.
Right. But the dirt stuff or the motorcycle stuff, now you have my attention.
Yeah.
So when I listen to your podcast, I'm usually listening to your podcast when I'm driving to a job site in the morning.
Yep.
I'll listen to it then because the guys on the talk morning radios just kind of just talk too much.
Yeah.
It's funny to say when you say you listen to a podcast.
They talk too much. I'm going to listen to a podcast.
Right. Or if I'm in a dozer, I've got a Bluetooth in and I'm pushing dirt, listening to you guys. But it's things that I'm interested in, right? That's my passion. So you guys kind of hit home on that, and it's real and it's raw.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing is, too, as passionate as Daniel and I are about motorcycles, the other little things sometimes that we end up going down tangents about are things that are relatable to other motorcycle people.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've heard it or not. We had an episode where we were talking about electric bikes.
Yeah.
And for like 20 minutes, we start talking about Teslas and electric cars and battery technology and stuff like that. But all that probably interests you.
But that's a conversation I would have with my buddy sitting in a bar over a couple of beers.
Correct.
Right? That's a real conversation.
Correct.
It's not scripted.
Correct.
Yeah,
it's... Look at this. I've been trying to tell everybody. I mean, people haven't argued with me. This is not scripted.
Oh, not even close.
I mean, I don't think you actually realized I was even recording until I said the intro.
Right.
I told you we were going to record, and I
Right.
put a microphone on there, but you didn't know when I pushed record.
Correct. We still may not be recording. This might be the
Wait,
practice
let me double
run.
check that. No.
Yeah,
We're
this is a
34
practice
minutes
run.
in right now.
Is this guy going to say something stupid?
Yeah, we're going to go into the... Hey, everybody.
Yeah, right. But no, and that's life. Like you said, that's the raw side of it. I don't want to listen to somebody sitting in a studio with headphones on. They got a script in front of them, and you can tell it's scripted.
Yeah. Well, and
I'll listen to the morning radio if I want that.
I've had people approach me about setting up better for studio environment and better sound and all that other stuff. And, you know, maybe it would completely blow up and I'd run 10,000 downloads a month or something like that. But I think I would alienate more people doing that than I alienate doing it the way I do it.
I agree, 100%.
So, because there's going to be people that go, man, I wish, no doubt, there's episodes I hear them, people will be like, man, I wish the audio was a little bit better. But the reason you're hearing everything in the background right now is because we're literally sitting in a couple fold-out chairs
Right.
in one of the only grassy spots
Yep.
at Loretta Lynn's Ranch on a Thursday
Next to
at
a
the
teepee.
Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival. That is a yurt,
That's a
sir,
yurt?
not a teepee. Sitting here literally between the yurt and Harley tent with a Banana Pudding Pan America sitting under it.
Right.
This is going on right now.
Right, and we got people and Polaris Rangers and mini bikes and wandering around,
Street glides
street glides. No.
with flip flops or something.
Yeah, they need a pair of boots.
You gonna sell them some boots?
I'm gonna go some pair of boots.
We don't have any boots with us. And fat boys with fairings.
Yeah. But, you know, it's as you said earlier, you know, just because you don't like a brand, or I'll use the analogy, if I don't like strawberry ice cream, it doesn't mean you're a bad person for liking strawberry ice cream. I just don't like strawberry ice cream.
I don't
right?
like strawberry ice cream.
I don't either, but you know what I'm saying?
I don't like strawberry.
Really? Interesting. Yeah, I just don't like the strawberry ice cream thing. Mm-mm.
I don't do strawberries, blackberries, and not all raspberry. Like I won't eat like raspberry pie or raspberry cobbler or anything like that. I'll eat a raspberry jam,
And you live in the South,
and I live in the
and
South.
you can't, and you don't eat. Interesting.
I will make a mess of myself with some like blueberry or some apple
All right.
or some peach.
All right, I can dig that.
I've never been a blackberry, raspberry, or strawberry fan.
All right.
I don't. To me, it's kind of gritty.
Yeah, it is. It's seedy. You get the little seed stuff
Yeah,
in
I
there.
don't-
and
I don't
it's
like
kind of
that.
crunchy a little bit.
I don't like that. But it's like with watermelon. I love watermelon. I don't
Take
like
the seeds out.
I don't like getting seeds in my watermelon.
So you buy the organic watermelon that doesn't have seeds in it?
No, I don't buy
You
watermelon.
just don't buy watermelon?
I just don't buy watermelon. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
It's that simple.
So that's the thing. We're on a motorcycle podcast now, and now we're talking about
Right.
fruit. But that's the thing. This is conversation.
Right.
Just raw conversation.
So when are we going to get you out there on an ADV bike riding? When is that day coming?
When my street glide pays off.
Okay.
I've already made those decisions. So I have a bike to use.
All right.
Daniel, I don't know.
He's got several bikes, if I remember right.
Well, if you heard, Daniel just bought an XR650L.
Yeah.
I have free use of that whenever I need it.
Okay.
But I still want my own.
Agreed. Nothing like dropping and breaking your own.
Correct. I want a smaller bike though. I do want an ADV, but I don't want a big bike.
So that's the conversation we're having with Madison right now.
So a middleweight ADV.
That's the conversation we're having with Madison.
So yeah, Madison has a fantastic motorcycle. I think it could be better though. I feel like her bike is a BMW geared more towards the Farkle squad.
It is 100%.
Because hers isn't even actually a GS, is it?
They badge it as a GS, but I wouldn't consider it a true GS platform.
So she is a GS 750,
Correct. 2022, I think it is.
but mag wheels, a little bit lower
Can't turn the rear ABS off.
suspension, a little less travel,
Right,
a little less ground clearance.
right.
But they make that same bike that's a little bit taller, a
The
little bit more
850.
suspension, not mag wheels, laced wheels, and those types of things.
So the 850, if I remember right, comes with a 21-inch front tire.
Didn't they make? What about the F series?
So hers is the F750 GS, I think is how they badge that.
Okay. Hey Bruce, give me a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's how they badge that.
Yeah.
And then you go to the true GSs, which is the 850 and up.
Okay.
So we're looking at going maybe like a T7, 890, 790, 701.
Or Pan America 975.
If they come out with it. She's already said that. She goes, if they came out with that bike, I would buy it today. She has already said that.
Yeah. Well, the greatest thing about it is that the problems that maybe you have experienced with your Pan America,
Right.
you're not really going to experience those even with a brand new 975 because it's the same engine.
Correct. They work stuff out.
Yeah.
And I know that, right? I mean, and I'll say it, mine was the first year. There's always struggles with the first year of anything.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what happens. I'll be out there. It'll be another year though. I got about a year until I pay off my street line.
Okay.
I'll be out there. Don't worry.
We're waiting on you. I mean, we got the ride coming up on the Smoky Mountain 500. So.
Yeah, that's a lot sooner than what I can.
Well, you can go to a dealership today and buy one. I mean, there's how many of them sitting here? I'm sure they'll let you borrow one or take one or buy one.
We have one that I could probably use.
Is it a green one?
Yeah. Yeah, but the reason I don't like riding that green one that we have is because the guy we got it from is a little bit of a dick.
Total. Abused it, rode it hard.
Just want to clarify for everybody. When Tim got rid of his Pan America, we purchased this Pan America from him.
Right, they did. And they were awesome about it, so I can't say anything.
Even though you went and bought a Ducati.
And you heard me say earlier, the Pan American was the best all-around bike I've ever owned.
I got a green one, I'll show you.
You got a green one?
Hey everybody, this is Sean at White Lightning Harley Davidson. I want to thank you for listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You can reach the podcast on Facebook or Instagram at The Daily Biker, or you can email the podcast at thedailybiker@gmail.com. Be sure to keep an eye on White Lightning Harley Davidson social media pages for the most up-to-date information on all our events and where you can find the boys.